So Traore is telling the general population that, look, actually not the general population, he's basically referring to the education sector in Burkina Faso that, look, I don't think that we as a country, we need more PhD holders. It is as simple as that. Why? Because there is no need of us, when I say us, I mean the Burkinabes, for them to produce more PhD holders. And these PhD holders, they are not solving the real problems that are facing the citizens. Because, as you know, when you do your PhD, you have to write what you call a thesis and a lot of theoretical academic papers. So, President of Burkina Faso is against this. That for you to come up and graduate with a PhD, as a PhD holder, so you have to solve the real life problems that are facing the Burkinabes people. You can't graduate as an engineer, yet you have not even innovated something related to engineering. If that is the case, then there is no need of the Burkinabes having more PhD holders. In fact, can you even listen to this? In fact, Traore is saying that according to him, he thinks that if you graduate with a PhD, you have to create employment. But ironically, most of the PhD holders in Burkina Faso are seeking for employment. In fact, most of them, they are normally protesting that they are being underpaid, because most of these PhD holders, they are being employed by the education sector. Most of them, they are working within the university setup. So most of them, they normally protest that they are being underpaid. Okay? So Traore is saying that he thinks that these people, they should be coming to the economy to create employment, not to be employed. They should be innovating and inventing. Now, allow me to say this. This is not the Burkina Faso's problem alone. This is the same problem that is facing Africa, that we are producing a lot of people who we cannot absorb with the job market. In fact, for the PhD holders, they have to be creating employment, not to be seeking employment. I think what Traore just forgot to say is maybe the same way the Chinese did. If you don't know, you can go and read about this, that the Chinese, they are somehow doing away with social sciences degrees and PhDs. So they are venturing into STEM degrees. So I think Traore could even say that we as a country have decided that we are not doing more of social sciences PhDs. We're investing much in STEM subject, that is science, technology, mathematics, and engineering. And for you to graduate with that PhD, you have to come up with an innovation that is solving problem facing the community. So a lot of PhD holders in Africa, they're just the same. I don't know why, because, and in one way or another, I don't even blame them, because these people, when even they are going to teach at the university, they are being underfunded. Okay? There is no active research that is going on in public universities or even in private universities in Africa. There is no active research. So at the end of the day, we come out of the program while we are half-baked, just prepared to go to the class, teach with a blackboard and a chalk, teach the same thing over and over again. After some time, you retire with your PhD. So Traore is saying, no, enough is enough. We have to invent and innovate. Now, let me just hope that even though Traore is saying this, he is creating a favorable environment for these researchers. Because you cannot pressure people to invent and innovate if there is no serious funding in this institution. So if there is a serious funding to fund their research, to fund their development processes, so they have to come out actually with these innovations and inventions. So that is now the state of Africa, and we have to appreciate that the fact that President Traore is seeing this, that the need of Africa to invent and innovate. So We rely so much on inventions coming from outside Africa. So it's time for us to invent our own technologies and at least contribute to the arena of development in matters research. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, Africa is going to rise. Africa is going to rise. If we see leaders such as Traoré pinpointing the real problems that are happening in society, then it means we as Africans, we are heading to the right direction. Yes, we are heading to the right direction. As long as these people who are doing PhDs, they come into the program, they are being funded fully by the government, their researchers and their innovations are being funded by the government, then I think if we do that, we are going to realize the potential within these researchers. We are good. Africa is full of people who have brains. And most of these people, they normally go abroad because when they go abroad, they are being funded perfectly. Okay? We have researchers in the Western countries. Talk about medicine, we have researchers in medicine. Talk about engineering, we have researchers. But a good number of these researchers, they are actively working outside Africa. Why? Because outside Africa, they are being funded perfectly. Their researches and development, they are being funded. And this contributes to positive impacts in relations to innovation and research within the organization. It pains me that we have so many people who are smart, who have graduated with PhDs from African universities, but instead of them participating actively in research, they are teaching at the university. Okay? Their job is just to teach, mark exams, and go home. Wasting their brains instead of funding, instead of doing development within Africa. That is not accepted. And that is what Traoré is talking about. So my hope and prayer is they are going to be funded. Because even if we do away with these PhDs, or we tell them to innovate and invent, without proper funding, then this one will not happen. So we have to fund these PhDs. We have to fund the universities for them to present and for them to innovate solutions that are going to catapult this continent in terms of development to another level. We have the capacity, we have the researchers, we have the resources. The only problem is how we as Africans are going to use the available resource to make sure that we innovate and invent. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Africa will be great. Africa must be great. Viva to the president of Burkina Faso. This guy is doing amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. So if you just look at his history, okay? Since he came into power in 2022 up to now 2026, that is roughly 4 years. He has done some amazing job when it comes to development in Burkina Faso. So it is incumbent of us, we as Africans, to pray for President Traoré so that at least by the end of the day, Traoré is going to realize the potential of Burkina Faso. See you next time. Bye-bye for now.